And a very pleasant greeting to you from the Rosemont Horizon just outside Chicago, where the New York Express is after its first victory of the season, hopefully at the expense of the Chicago Sting. I'm Steve Grad. Welcome to our telecast. We're delighted you're with us. Our expert commentator, Seamus Mallon. The big story tonight, however, is the coaching situation in Chicago. Right before we went on the air, they announced that Willy Roy has said he will not be here tonight, nor in St. Louis for the next game for the Sting, and then he'll decide his future with the Sterns afterwards. Seamus, what do you make of that?
Well, it was a little bit of masterpiece theater, I think, in that particular release, because I think the word around afterwards, certainly among the press, is that Willie has been fired, which is a sad day in many ways. He's such a fixture here. On the other hand, he's made a lot of enemies, as Willie, and a lot, I think, in the recent days. The players, many of the players, are very unhappy with him, and so this has been predicted over the season. It's finally come to pass. It is too bad, but I think Eric Geyer is going to step in, will be very much respected by the players.
Speaking of respect, this afternoon, Ray Klivecka and Shep Messing shook hands on a 3-year extension on Ray's contract, so that means he's not under any pressure to get that W tonight and tear apart his building program. That takes the pressure off of him and the team.
Well, he's a very good student of the indoor game, and of course he's a very good teacher, but his pupils haven't learned as fast as he would like, and I think it's not fair to blame him at this point. The players have got to figure out what he's after, and once they get that mastered, I think the professor, as we can call him, will be entitled to that kind of tenure.
Well, we'll see if we can get the first victory tonight against the Chicago Sting, and we'll return to the Rosemont Horizon right after these messages. Mallon back with you at the Rosemont Horizon outside Chicago. We're just a few minutes away for the start of tonight's game between the Express and the Chicago Sting. Chicago with only one victory this year. They're 1-6. Again, as we told you off the top of the broadcast, Willy Roy not here. And no matter how Kenny Stern claims he's still the head coach, I think that's just going to be a matter of time.
I think it is a little bit of verbal gymnastics there on the part of the front office. I don't quite know what they have in mind. There are some rumors that maybe that he might get a front office job, but that front office is pretty top-heavy at the moment, and I don't know if they really need to have another guy in there. They obviously like to try to find something for Willie to do, but I think they just need the weekend to think it through a little bit. But pretty obviously, you're not going to rehire or reassign a coach two games later if there's been that much of a struggle initially, it would seem to me, among the players and the coaching staff. So I think we can safely say, reasonably safely say, that Willie's coaching days are pretty much finished with the Chicago Sting.
And again, he started back here during the old Chicago Spurs of the a forerunner of the North American Soccer League, when they used to play out at Soldier Field and Comiskey Park, and that's about 20 years ago. Meanwhile, let's talk about the Express. They have to get some firepower. There's no getting around it with all the injuries and whatnot. Everybody's been slowed up. Diego started off so well, leading the league the first 4 games, and the next thing you know, he's hurt. He'll get some limited time tonight.
Yep, they need some firepower up front. Hope he can provide it, but whoever's got to provide it, they need it now, and they need to get a good win under their belts, and this will be a good time to start.
All right, they've been working on a plan all day to prevent Granitza from doing a lot of damage, and right now here at Chicago's Rosemont Horizon, we're going to honor America.
God bless America. Beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America.
Chicago Sting franchise is a franchise in need of some major tuning up. There's no question about it. It wasn't long ago that they used to have averages of 12,000, 13,000 people They used to play at the Chicago Stadium down west of downtown. Now they're out in the suburb. But that's not the reason for the lack of attendance here.
No, in fact, their big move out here was intended, of course, to go to where they thought the fans would be. As is often the case, I think soccer fans are in the suburban areas primarily, did not really appreciate the trek into downtown that much. And they felt, well, let's bring the game to them. But they recognize, too, that it's not something you can do overnight. And there have been some unhappy attendance figures, certainly, in this new facility. But I think it is just a matter of time, because I think the future of the franchise is out here. Not much question about that.
As Shep will be in goal tonight, he's trying to get his first victory. You know, the goal against average is not really as bad as that indication. A lot of them were near the end of the game, and the other team was coming at him full blast. And there's Scoop. I'm sorry, let's see. That's Victor Nogueira. I thought Scoop was going to start tonight. That was the word I had right before the telecast, which would have been interesting because he's the student of Ray and of Shep.
That's right, but Nogueira is the starter, the more experienced of the two. Stanisic, a young player, Yugoslavian background, a lot of good natural ability, but not quite there yet in terms of experience. Some other good matchups: St. Louis up in Minnesota, and Kansas City at Wichita. We're underway.
And the Express and the visiting White will take the attack to Chicago. They'll do a lot of countering. That's their offensive scheme. And Chicago in the home black Batata, number 77. The little potato from Brazil. A lot of starring action for the Lasers up the wing. The Express have to clog up the middle and keep Granitza and some of those other people who can be human dasher boards from setting things up. Good, didn't go in. Here comes Carrera. Marked by Alonso. McLean with a good header at midfield.
An important header there, won by McLean. Otherwise, Collins would have been in with a good chance.
Here comes Chicago on the attack again. Hedlund is marking Granitza. From the far dasher boards they come. It's Pringo.
Oh,
but his pass.
Yeah. They have trouble bringing it out. That's causing a lot of pressure because they cannot get it forward.
Klopas controlling over the arc. Here's Alonso. Off the dasher boards, but it's McLean there to beat Klopas. And it's cleared away. Michael Collins to the clearing. 33 seconds to go in the quarter. It's still scoreless. Both these teams need a win. New York's first of the year. Chicago with one victory so far. Playing with it at midfield. Here's Granitza. That didn't want that to happen. And a good breakup by Tanozzi. Still Chicago's coming. Heinz Wirtz loses the ball. Good left-footed play by Zombie. 13 seconds to go in the quarter. Here comes 3-on-1. And it's a little too far as Carrera let Nogueira stop it. Now Granitza all alone. Good pass. And a great play because Alonso couldn't control it. 1 second to go. And the New York Express got out of that one happily because Alonso had Shep dead to right.
Oh, he sure did, and he can't believe it. He's scoring a lot of goals in his career, but that one was one of his worst misses. But often happens, a great chance at the other end, and unfortunately it was a 3v1 situation, and the Express did not capitalize on it intelligently and almost got victimized by the counterattack. But a good first period for New York. 0-0 at the end of one period.
First quarter. Good two-way player. Here's Lubrich on the left wing. Marked loosely by Vosper. Sets it right up in front to Pesa. Back out. White. Long shot goal. And the Express gets on the board. Beautifully set up by the Express.
Oh, great combination play between Lubrich and Pesa setting that chance up. Pesa battling very hard. Not a player who looks like he's coming off injury, but scrapping and fighting and winning it. Here you see him touching it back, and White then just lets it go and keeps it nice and low to the far post. Nogueira never saw it, and the Express jump out 1-0. There's the good touchback by Payson. Now watch this fine shot from behind the player. Bobby Vossmeyer turning his back there and able to block it and effectively screening Victor Nogueira in the goal. So the Express go out ahead 1-0 through White with the assist to
treat beautifully. And set up defensively. Klinczarski along the near boards. Amir Ali marking him. Into the corner it goes for Chicago. They leave it for Alonso. Left for a shot. Goal! Just over the spread, Shep Messing, and it's 1-1.
Well, a tremendous shot by Ricky Alonso. I mentioned earlier when he missed that one that he scored some tremendous goals, and that was just a beautiful drive, well set up, and he just cracks it. I don't know if it hit anybody, but certainly Amir Ali was in front there, and Shep didn't see it. Frankly, even had he seen it, I don't think he could have gotten to it. It was just buried in the upper corner. Ricky Alonso, only his second goal of the season, but you can see why he wants to take shots. He's got that great firepower.
So he had a scoreless first quarter, and now a good lead pass by White, but nobody there to catch up to it. Ali keeps it in. Marked down from the back. Alonso marks Ternozzi. May have a blue card.
Yep, that's a 2.
Now it's Karl-Heinz Granitza. 2-on-3 for Chicago. Collins doing some fancy footwork. One touches it over to Alonso. Now his shot is blocked. Michael Collins. And look at this. Peza. 1-on-1. Peza with Bosmeyer. Now he gets some help. On the left side, Liverich. Right puts it. And a good save by Nogueira. Peza was coming in behind the goalkeeper.
Unfortunately, on Mark's wrong foot. He loves a left foot. It came to his right foot as he moved in, and he just tried to pass it off instead of firing with the right.
Well, Nogueira was going the other way, expecting a left-footed shot. Meanwhile, the shot by Chicago goes wide. Here's Peza again, and that foul has to be against Chicago.
Yes, but once
they
again,
had the ball.
yeah, advantage taken away. Unhappy decision again by the referee with the quick whistle as Chris White, once again reading the game better and better each game he plays, had overlapped on the far side and was ready to break away. Liverich putting in a good period this time. That unfortunately, as I said, that ball when he was in the penalty area on his right foot rather than his left.
Liverich had the 4 preseason goals, but he certainly needs to get on track this year. Under a minute to go in the first half of play. You saw Klopas put on a shot. Here's Liverich. He's all alone. He needs some help. Liverich coming in 1-on-3. Liverich still controlling. If he can get a shot off, though, it'll be good. 35 seconds to go in the first half of play. Couldn't do it. Here's Klopas. Now Karl-Heinz Granitza at midfield. They've really kept him in check. He has not been the human dasherboard, the man feeding the ball out with his back to the goal as he normally is. Shep stops that ball as it comes around the board. Trinko with 18 seconds to go in the first half of play. We'll try one more attack. He's got Cadetta. He's got Ali. Chicago retreating. Here's Carrera. Shot saved by Nogueira. 10 seconds to go in the first half of play. Batata coming back for the Chicago Sting. We're still tied 1-1. He's got Granitza on the right. Taking it to the middle. A shot blocked away by Hedlund. And that'll end the first half of play. So despite Chicago with only 1 victory, you come out of the first half, as New York has done most of the year, either leading or tied. They've had a pretty good first half, and the Chicago fans quite upset with their players.
Well, the goalkeepers, the story here, the Guerrero we see walking off now, Messing just a moment ago, both have had some excellent saves, but the defense in general for the Express has been really terrific. Their main problems have just been getting the attack going and finishing some good chances. They've a couple of times passed when they should have shot when they should have passed, and of course that's all easy for us to say up here, but it's that kind of inexperience and that kind of indecision or questionable decisions that they make under pressure is what has caused them some problems in finishing and in getting the ball out from the back.
There's our score at halftime. It's 1-1 at the Chicago Horizon, and we'll return for our halftime updates and a special interview with Shep Messing right after this.
Well, our halftime guest tonight is Shep Messing, full-time president. And Shep, I know this is not exactly the start you had hoped for on the field, but there are some good things to report off the field.
Well, I think so, Seamus. In the fantasy world that sometimes I live in, I would like to see us 8-0 instead of 0-8. But in the scheme of things, I'm really happy with the franchise. I think the New York media, the New York fans are accepting that we're a young team. We're a team that's going to make mistakes, and unfortunately, in some of our games, those mistakes have been converted into goals. So, off the field, I'm happy. We have the franchise. I think the fans are being patient. I think the media is treating us fairly, and I think we're here for the long haul. So we're trying to build a solid foundation. It's sometimes frustrating on the field, but in the big picture, I'm very happy that the New York Express is back at the Nassau Coliseum.
Well, you know, it's often been said that New York fans are an unforgiving crew, and that you really got to produce or else they don't want to know. But it sounds from what you're saying that you are getting some good grassroots work in the community, at least.
There's no doubt, Seamus. It's a two-edged sword. It seems to me that New York are the toughest fans in the world, but they're also the greatest. And I think when you're on top, they demand perfection. When you're an underdog, whether it be the old-time Mets, whether it be Billy Martin in the underdog role with the Yankees, New York likes an underdog, and certainly that's what we are right now.
Well, of course, the press being what it is in New York and the fans with expectations, sometimes one often hears the crowd of heads, the yell of heads should roll, a coach should go, and so forth and so on. But it sounds, from what you're telling me, that you feel strongly about the coach, and it's just a matter of getting things sorted out on the field.
There's no doubt. There are no overnight fixes. You've been involved in the game for a long time. There are no quick solutions. I think we're trying to build with a solid foundation, and Ray Klivecka has a game plan, and that's not a plan that has to be executed over the first 8 games or 16 games. He's going to have time to build the New York Express, and certainly I'm not happy to be 0-8. Neither is Ray Klivecka, but he has built now a nucleus of young American players like Michael Collins and like young John Hedlund in the lineup tonight. Of course, Rick Davis, and it's going to take time, but I like some of the tools and some of the things that are fitting into place right now.
Well, let's talk about some of the play on the field. You started off very well, actually, even though losing some matches early on. The team looked as though it had more cohesion than you would have expected for such a young team. Perhaps the closeness of those losses was more frustrating than showed up at the time.
You're right. We were really happy to be in there and lose in overtime against San Diego when we felt like we were really meshing earlier than we thought possible. Unfortunately, that's a fragile network, and we lost Diego Pesa, who is our leading scorer. Rick Davis has been hampered and out of the lineup, and as soon as you take one of those components or 2 of those components out of a young lineup, I think the impact is going to be greater than if it happened to an experienced team.
Well, even though the season is only 8 games old, there is a tremendous amount of pressure to put on the physical demands in this game, and depth, therefore, is much more important in this sport than in many. Is it possible to build depth in the first year?
It's very, very difficult. I'm a great believer that if you're hurt, shoot the guy. I mean, you got to play. It's a tough league. The MISL is one of the most brutal leagues around. It's tough to have depth in a first-year team. We have a roster of 20 or 21 people, and it's really a case where, for instance, we play tonight, and we play again tomorrow night. You have to suck it up. You have to dig in there, and you have to fight.
Well, of course, everybody around the world in soccer looks for scorers, and it looks as though you still are trying to find that missing dynamite player up front. Any prospects for that in the future?
Well, I think we have some prospects that are on the New York Express right now. They haven't clicked yet. Mark Liverich certainly is a proven scorer in the league, and I expect more out of him, and I think that's going to happen. I think Marcelo Carrera is the diamond in the rough for us right now. He's made the transition from Argentina to the New York Express, and he's coming on 10, 20% more every game. He's got the skill, he's got the power to put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, you said the president won't fire the coach. Let me just finish by asking you if there's any chance the president will fire the goalkeeper.
No, I'm not going to fire myself. I might trade myself if it continues. I'm happy. In the scheme of things, we're happy with the foundation that we're building. We all want results. We all want instant gratification, but I'm determined with the New York Express to do it slowly, do it conservatively, and do it properly.
Okay, Shep, well, thank you very much for joining us here at halftime. Steve and I will be back with highlights of the first half after we pause for these words.
Distribution pass goes into the middle, and McGawley wins it for Chicago. That is dangerous right there. Out in front, Drago, shot, goal!
Selby and Shep had problems. Collins has just touched the official. We might get a card. That's going to be against Michael Collins in the argument. He'll go in the box.
Well, the argument is that Shep was fouled in midair trying to get the ball. We'll take a look at it here. There's the ball going up. Now, he certainly is hit by McGawley, but I think you'd have to argue that McGawley was challenging for the ball, too. But he did crash into Shep's back. And we'll see if they can get another angle at it here. Yeah, they're both going for the ball. Shep went down. McLean did a good job getting to the line, but Drago just put it in the corner. So an unfortunate mistake, and compounded by this breach of self-discipline by Collins. And the Shep out of midfield with Maxwell really trying to make an argument, but he's not going to get anywhere with Maxwell, I don't think. Liverich, the captain, I think, for tonight.
Well, the first thing Liverich and Shep did when they were arguing was get Collins in the box, because he might have been ejected and he'd gone another 10 seconds. Drago at 8-12 makes it 2-1 Chicago. McGawley gets the assist.
Well, Ray Klivecka not happy, but here you see there's a little bit of trouble between the two of them. Kasbeck trying to get it back. It hits the glass. And McGawley clearly does crash into the goalkeeper, but it's really a judgment call as to whether he was trying to challenge for the ball. You could argue he was trying to challenge for the ball. No question, it was contact. But, you know, this is a contact sport, and it looked like Shep felt himself that he was hit in the back as he was trying to catch the ball, and I'm sure it looked that way down the field. From this angle, it looked like they're both challenging for it.
First time tonight that Chicago has the power play. They were one short in the first half, and the Express couldn't make use of it. 6 of 16 is their power play. McGawley's out there, and Klopas and Wirtz. Bottano right puts it out in front. He tries to deflect it away. Chicago will start again. 1:38 in the penalty to go. And there's a goal. Power play right there. 3-1 in favor of Chicago. Klopas, the king.
Well, that's a real backbreaker because the Express had done so well as they'd given up the goal and the penalty, but really struck beautifully to the far post to give the Sting a 2-goal lead. The pass from Heinz Wirtz. Collins arrives a bit late. The shot is labeled to the far post. Very little chance for Shep to react to that one. And it's a 2-goal lead for Chicago. And really on the run of play in this half, certainly and in the second period, they don't deserve to be ahead by 2. But the Express have no one to blame for themselves, unfortunately. They did give up a goal that they might have prevented a difficult attempt at a pass back by Kazbek-Tambi. Off the glass, Shep hit by McGawley, the foul not given, and Collins loses his cool and gives another goal up as a result.
And that's what we talked about. You know, a semi-silly goal, a problem goal. They worry about it. The next thing you know, it leads to...
Carried by his own man Alonso going for that ball there and gave him a little bit of his own mind about that. The Chicago players have been well known, let each other know how they feel.
There's a shot by Drago. It misses. And Ali comes out. He's got Krinko on the right. He's got Collins on the left, and 3 Chicago defenders and the goalie in front of him. 39 seconds to go, third quarter of play. Mulroy getting a lot of playing time tonight in the second half. Steve McLean. He's it for Hedlund. Express regroups. Dumps it into the Chicago zone, but Bottano dumps it back for his defenders, and those Chicago defenders, much maligned this year, doing a good job tonight. Collins to McGawley. Only 3 penalties tonight, 2 on Chicago. The Express unable to score on the power play. Chicago scored on its power play when Collins got carded for a language problem. Unfortunately, he was too explicit to the official.
Unfortunately, it was English, that's right.
Dalby having a good night in the back line for New York. And that's the end of the third quarter of play. A good quarter for Chicago. A disappointing one for the Express. All summed up there on the face of Shep Messing. It'll be 15 minutes to go for the New York Express to get back in this game as Chicago leads 3-1.
Tambi, it was the only bad spot in the performance in the defense.
Again, Chicago keeps it in the New York end. Shep directing traffic from the net. Often tonight he's had to do that. Granitza set it perfectly to Klopas. That's exactly what Chicago's been trying to do all night. And Shep was hollering. He could see it set up about a minute and a half.
Yeah, well, Klopas was lost, I think, by Pesa. I don't know if he'll wind it back far enough to see. Yes, Klopas goes. Now watch Pesa lose him. I see Pesa's lost him, and it just laid off beautifully. The Granitza touch is unparalleled. Look at this lovely little touch, but Klopas really loses his defender, Diego Pesa, who is just back from injury, and that was the story. That's how that goal worked. That's why that goal happened, and this hasn't happened up to now because the defender just simply was not able to keep up with the give and go Express players.
And Ligero, who, I'll tell you what, he last year played a regular shift and got an assist when Chicago was really short one game. He's a great athlete. As Bottano comes into the New York zone, Drago right up front, open net. Shep had to come out, and I think fatigue is really setting in on the Express because Tambi got beat badly, and early in the game he has been stopping everything. 5-1 Chicago.
Yeah, Shep coming out, committing himself too. Bottano with that good pass through, and Drago with no problem there knocking that one home. And Shep, seeing that that Tambi was beaten by the good run through, beaten by one step there, decided he simply had to come out and try to get his hands on that ball as Drago made the first touch, because he knew that if he got the first touch and got by him, it'll be all over. Does that man look like Yul Brynner or Yoda? I'm not quite sure which.
6:38 in this period. That's his second goal tonight. Oh, for some firepower. Meanwhile, Collins with a good touch pass behind him. Krinko back to Collins. The Express has to really go at it now. Chicago marking very well in the back line. It's 5-1 with 8 minutes to go in the game. Chicago. We have this time to regroup. I'll tell you that Wichita's closed the gap on Kansas City. It's Kansas City 7, Wichita 6 in the fourth quarter. We have a break in the action right now with 3:32 to go in this game. Timeout.
Yeah, the Express calling a timeout.
And again, a reminder, the day after Christmas on the 26th, next Friday night, it'll be Wichita, which is making that comeback against Kansas City, against the Express at 8:05 at the Nassau Coliseum. And the Christmas gift to the fans from the Express, all tickets, every single one of them, half price. For more information, call 516-579-5095.
We're going to see a new goalkeeper coming in, too. Here's the ball from Collins, and Tarnozzi in a great position. Did well to get over the top, but just got it high. Now look at this ball. A great ball. Touches it in off his knee, really. Not much control, that part of the anatomy, but just no breaks for the Express around the goal. They really, of course, you've got to create some of your own breaks, but they didn't do the job. New goalkeeper, I was mentioning, Shep Messing is coming out of the goal, and Michael Collins is going in as a goalkeeper, which of course means that he will be attacking from the back as much as possible. So they're playing with 6 field players, and of which one is a designated goalie, but really the 6th attacker, really. There he goes. The leading scorer on this team.
Well, soccer American style is what the Express want. And Michael from Hicksville got him from the blast. He exemplifies it. Great speed and technique. He was the player of the month in November. .3:28 to go in the game. 5-1 Chicago. Here's Ali. Don't forget the 6 attackers on for New York. I think it's so psychologically important for them to crack that barrier, get a goal in the second half.
Yeah, they really, that's certainly one of the barriers they want to crack, in addition to getting the win.
Well, if they get this one, it'll be one of the finest comebacks in the history of the Major Indoor Soccer League. Foul against Chicago. You know, get a goal at least, and you go to Baltimore with a little less of a bad taste in your mouth.
Chris White pretty unhappy with Batata's foul against him. Let's see, there's the foul by Batata from behind as he reaches in with the left elbow and then whacks him with his leg. And Drago must have said something uncomplimentary because he is being asked to take a breather for 2 minutes.
Let's see if they can get the power play on track. They've done it twice. They looked terrible the first chance they had. Second chance, they had some good shots on goal. They just couldn't convert it.
Actually, it was the 6th foul. We thought it was dissent, but it was, in fact, the 6th foul of the period.
I like the cumulative foul rule, though.
Yeah,
I think it's a good rule.
Very good rule.
Brought in a couple of years ago by the MISL. Outsetting Kraft for Chicago controls. He's trying to kill the penalty. Done a good job so far in 2 shifts at that tonight. 6'3" Chris White sends it back in paces. Not quite able to get there. McLean over to Carrera. Along the near dasher boards, and I'll tell you what, a wide awake Pat McGauley fouled him, and Pat is, Pat's upset.
Well, Carrera seemed to get away with something there, but here comes Collins with a shot.
And that goes deflected out. So we've got Collins, you got White, Pesa, Liverick, McLean, Carrera.
Ray Klivecka trying to get Liverick to go wide to the left, stay wide, and get the chance out there.
2-man advantage if you count the fact that there's no goalkeeper. And now Collins has to hustle back. Clopas trying for a hat trick. He's going to be double teamed. White trying to cut him off, and the fans, boy, they were out for blood. They wanted that hat trick for the kid. Meanwhile, they drop it back to Michael Collins in for Shep in his closing moments. Minute 11 on the power play left for the New York Express. Guerra heads it back out into midfield, and there's Clopas again. Here he comes. He's got Teddy Kraft. He's leading on the right. Kraft shot, and that's just wide. McLean kicks it up the dasher boards back to Collins. He takes it out to midfield. 51 seconds to go on the power play for New York. Pesa leaves it for McLean. Off the glass. Chris White catches up to it. 5-1, Chicago leads. Way back early in the second quarter, the Express led 1-0. Pesa and Ben Collins battling for the ball. And not a very organized power play this time. Copus beats White. Tries to beat Collins. Coming in. He does. That's it.
Well, he got past a pretty tired player.
Chris White.
First place. Chris White, yeah. Chris White really pretty well shattered for this game and just simply couldn't have enough energy to get back. But Clopas gets by him, turns on the jets, and then stumbles and gets a shot off. And I think it went between the legs of Collins, or he just wasn't anticipating the shot. And that's the 6th goal of the night for Chicago, and the 3rd for this man, Clopas. And you see the goal again. But I tell you, Chris White reaching in there with the left foot as he's so good, or the right foot as he's so good at doing, and stealing that ball away. That's the kind of steal he makes routinely, frankly. But with just a couple of minutes to go, he's pretty exhausted.
And Clopas is one of the fastest players I've ever seen in this league. He's constantly beating people to loose balls. He's constantly getting back 2 ways, and he's a good one. 1:12 to go. Then the assist from Ben Collins at 13:31. Hard rocket by McLean. Hard rocket by White. McGarrett couldn't clear it, but still didn't go in. He pounds it to midfield. Patata was racing to try to get that open goal. We have a restart now. The foul against Chicago. White ridden off the ball, but maintains possession. And it just hits the post. And finally, Pesa puts it in as Liverich hit the post on the first shot. 6-2. A little bit of pride.
Well, it's important to get some in the net. It's in the closing minutes of the game, but Pesa's got to score some goals for them, and Mark is going to be unhappy that he didn't put that one away himself, but he's having a trouble buying some goals. He's having a lot of trouble getting any goals. And a meaningless touch in the end, frankly, by Pesa, but he's got 9 points now, and I guess that puts him in the scoring lead for the Express as he passes Michael Collins.
Heck, he led the whole league in the first 4 games, but that calf injury knocked him out of commission.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see him playing as much as he did tonight. Obviously not close to being back to form, but did some good things. And more importantly, battled very hard. Really threw himself about physically to try to do something. And Liverich just belts Patata over.
Patata's aggravated everybody.
Yeah.
Tonight. Liverich is explaining why. He said, look, you know, let's forget it. Shep got into it with Patata earlier, too. There's a direct kick, and it almost got by. Back to Patata. Grossmeyer had a good game in the back tonight. It is 6-2 Chicago, 43 seconds left in this game. I'm glad you were with us tonight on Sports Channel. Sorry we couldn't bring you that first victory. There'll be other tries. They're home now. Next Friday against Wichita. Half-price tickets. Perhaps against the Wings, they'll get that first victory. Actually, maybe it'll be tomorrow against Baltimore.
Let's hope that they can get fired up for Baltimore, but it's awfully hard. These back-to-back games on the road.
Canozzi goes down. 22 seconds to go. The fouling at Chicago. Collins shot wide. Liverich keeps it in. Left foots it right out in front. And Nogueira, who's had a great game, knocks it away and distributes the ball up to Patata. There's Drago trying to get it in the open net. Oh, Post going for his 4th goal. And Alonso gets another goal. Oh, man, 6 seconds left in the game. And Alonso gets his 2nd.
Well, Alonso taking advantage of the fact that Michael Collins just had his back to the play as he was waiting for the ball to come off the glass. And you see him there. He just reacts to the right looking for a player, but doesn't realize there's one coming from his left. And another meaningless goal. So 7-2 with 6 seconds to go.
I think Eric Dyer's debut as a coach has been rather successful for Chicago.
Yes, I would think that they're going to be very happy in Chicago with this. They've needed some wins, obviously, and they've been close before, but now they've got one. And the Express still need one.
7-2, the final score. The Chicago Sting beating the Express in a 4th quarter that just deteriorated. It unraveled like a $35 seersucker suit, but there are better days ahead. No panicking on the Express end. Charsky played two ways, played very hard. Everybody gave it their all tonight for both sides. And it was just that one little setback there for Ray's team when Drago took the lead, and then the penalty by Collins, and then they got a power play goal to Chicago, and that just started unraveling New York. We'll return to give you some stats and wrap it up here from the Horizon right after these words. 4 Chicago goals in the fourth quarter really started the slide down for the Express, who got a meaningless goal near the end there, but at least they cracked it in the second half. Seamus, that first half they were tied 1-1. And the defense was playing exactly as they were supposed to play. Just like Ray said, keep Grinitz out of the plate, get it off to the sides and counter. They just couldn't keep it up for a full game.
No, and you know, they're doing a lot of good defensive work, but that you pay a tremendous price doing defensive work because you're constantly under attack. And when the chances come to do something the other end and they don't happen, then that puts all the more pressure on you defensively. And if it's like keeping your fingers in the dike. You can do it for only so long, and when it finally sprung, it was just inevitable that the goals would flow. They needed to convert the chances. They didn't do it, and that made it even more difficult to defend.
Well, at least the team is not panicking, and Shep and Ray shook hands today for a 3-year extension on his contract. But in Chicago, prior to the game, Willy Roy and the Stearns had met. Roy said, "I'm not going to be here tonight. I'm not going to be here next game." And the Stearns said, "He's still our coach, but we'll discuss it in the next few games." Geyer with a great debut.
It was a great debut for Eric. He's a great warrior, really. The Wolf Man, they call him. He looks pretty fierce. But there is a kind heart there occasionally, and he knows how to handle his players. And I think he's shown tonight that he really can do the job for them. But the players did a super job themselves, too.
All right, maybe tomorrow night at Baltimore. And we'll return for a final word here at the Horizon as the Express lose to Chicago 7-2.